This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, that's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be passed.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out.
Good. Oh, is that good? That's a big. I should sign it now. I'm a big boy. I have the pen. That was worrying, especially when you're doing something deeply and obviously unconstitutional. But that was Donald Trump attempting, in a fashion that he cannot as president, to end birthright citizenship, and everybody knew that it was likely to be challenged and possibly blocked. Well, that has happened faster than was initially expected. But even in the short time between him signing it and it being blocked, it has led to a little bit of chaos, which we're going to discuss. But first, initial thoughts on it being blocked?
Yeah, so I agree with the judge, as John is about to tell you, it's blatantly unconstitutional. But I have a theory on why they're doing this very extreme policy, and it's related to Matt Gaetz. Interesting. So we'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay, now I have some follow-up questions about Matt Gaetz' parentage, but anyway, let's talk about what has actually happened, because the possibility that it could go into effect, even if maybe would be later struck down, has led some people who were thinking about possibly getting citizenship for their child under the previous regime to be a little bit worried. And so apparently increasing numbers of pregnant immigrant women are requesting preterm C-sections so that their children can be born before February 19th, which is when it would previously have been expected to go into effect and could still go into effect. And many of the couples apparently are Indian women in their 8th or 9th month of pregnancy, but some are months away from giving birth and are still seeing if it might be possible to artificially give birth kind of dangerously early, and that's making a lot of people very worried. So there's a doctor at a maternity clinic in New Jersey that's confirmed that they've been receiving a high number of inquiries about early deliveries. Dr. Rama says a 7 months pregnant woman came in with her husband to sign up for a preterm delivery. She isn't due until sometime in March, so that would put it potentially up to 6 weeks early, somewhere around there. Another OBGYN in Texas says that they're seeing the same sort of thing in their clinic. Dr. Makula says, I am trying to tell couples that even if it is possible, a preterm birth poses significant risk to mother and child. Complications include underdeveloped lungs, feeding problems, low birth weight, neurological complications, and more. In the past 2 days, I've spoken to 15 to 20 couples about this. And so that's very worrying, those complications. And a lot of people potentially in a country as large as ours could be affected by that. And so some are having to weigh those potential health complications with the long-term ramifications if the child doesn't get citizenship. Bear in mind, some of these are people who lived in the US for years and years. One couple moved here 8 years ago on H-1B visas, which we've been assured recently are the best thing ever, and yet even being here for 8 years, they're now worrying like, well, that's something that they've been maybe looking forward to for a long time and it may not be possible. One, Varun said, we were counting on our child being born here. We've been waiting for our green cards for 6 years. This was the only way to ensure stability for our family. We are terrified of the uncertainty. And in this case, the pregnancy is not expected to be due until March. So it's another one of those that might be a little bit too early. And so this is chaos, and it's sort of classic Trump chaos, isn't it? That he's causing chaos in the field of immigration, but also making women extremely worried about what's gonna happen with their pregnancy. That's sort of classic Trump, but Cenk, what do you make of this?
Yeah, so the reason why I said, when mentioned Matt Gaetz is, this is the Matt Gaetz of policies. I said Matt Gaetz was the appointee that was a sacrificial lamb. So everybody attacks him. Meanwhile, Hegseth and all the other Kash Patel, whoever else, sails through. And so far, that's almost exactly what's happened, right? So we'll see if they all make it through. But that was, in my opinion, the plan, and they have executed that plan really well, much to our chagrin. Right? So now, when it comes to these executive orders, he does this one, which is so outrageous and ridiculous, and it's a sacrificial lamb. So everybody looks at it, oh, squirrel, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so angry, I'm so mad, I'm so mad. Meanwhile, there's like, how many orders? 1,200? So, I mean, executive orders.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like all of the other dozens, hundreds, whatever number of executive orders people aren't paying attention to because of this one, right? And there's a lot of dangerous ones in those other executive orders. So, but Now, so that's my criticism of Trump. By the way, this would ironically give me extra rights because you'd have to reinterpret the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are full citizens. If you take out the people that were born here, that only leaves naturalized citizens, me. Okay, so I now have more rights than you guys. Okay, so it's an absurdity beyond imagination. So, okay, now about the practical consequences. Now I've got to tell the folks on the left, please stop panicking. And so this is an interesting conversation we all need to have, okay? Because the panic is causing more problems than the actual issue, right? Because immediately, a Reagan appointed judge said it was the most unconstitutional thing he has ever seen and immediately struck it down. And so will all the other courts, okay? It's totally absurd. But if you deliver your baby before it's time, that will have actual consequences, massive consequences. So you wanna hate Trump for threatening it? Makes sense. Because even when whatever the president says is chilling to begin with, right? It has even his speech has ramifications. I'm not trying to shut down his speech. He's the president, I get it. He can propose even extreme policies, I get it. That doesn't mean he should, right? But from how we react to it is also important. And so please don't do this. And besides which, you're doing it so irrationally. Once he signs the executive order, first of all, there's a 99.8% chance that it's not going to be put into place. But in the crazy scenario where that judge gets overruled and the other one gets overruled and it goes all the way to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court is totally rabid and lost its mind and takes away birthright citizenship, it would have been taken effect when he did the executive order. It's already too late. So don't do any of this nonsense, right? So, but it isn't too late. He's trying to distract you. He's trying to agitate you. Don't help him do that. Nina, what do you think?
Yes, Cenk, you bring up some very excellent points. I mean, when we act in despair, and we shouldn't be acting in despair, definitely be cognizant of it. It is shock and awe what Trump specializes in. To add to something that John said, he is the chaos king, and this is what he loves. I mean, he thrives in this environment. You know, I just penned an op-ed, which is in the Nation magazine as of today, about how we must keep going, that our mission has not changed, that we must continue to fight. And we were gonna have to fight no matter who won the White House. The fact that Trump is in his 2.0 season now means we had to fight a different and deeper way, but the fight still continues. And that's really all they do want us to do is get us distracted. Those other executive orders that you were talking about, Cenk, I mean, one takes away protections for those who have Medicaid and will allow them to force work requirements and all of this crazy stuff that this man is doing, repealing of some of LBJ's, 1965 executive orders. So there's so much going on right now that we do have to focus our efforts and our energy, and we have got to organize, and we must use the legal system to our advantage. And there are groups out there who are doing that, and definitely big ups to the Reagan appointed judge, first name Judge John Coughenour, hopefully I didn't butcher his name, who said, and I quote, blatantly unconstitutional, end quote. So we got to use the tools at our disposal, Cenk and John, and one of those tools is to be calm and organize and get ready to fight these fools, because that's what it's gonna take.
I like it, I agree. I'm gonna give you just a little bit more from the judge. As Nina said, yes, blatantly unconstitutional, says I can't remember another case where the question presented is as clear as it is here. And he's been around for a while. He goes on to say, I have difficulty understanding how a member of the bar can state unequivocally that this is a constitutional order. It boggles my mind. Where were the lawyers when this decision was being made? I don't know, maybe they were there, but they were Lena Habba or Rudy Giuliani. Maybe they were doing their best and they really don't know. But anyway, I have a few more thoughts on this. I do want to tee it up though to a video because it is not just Donald Trump through an executive order that is trying to get this done. Take a look at this.
Now, with the Birthright Citizenship Act of 2025, we can solidify these reforms into lasting law and codify them. This bill is quite simple. Let me share with you the criteria for automatic citizenship. Citizenship will be granted only to children born in the United States with at least one parent who is 1, a U.S. citizen or national, number 2, a lawful permanent resident, and number 3, a lawful resident who is serving in the military.
If the framers of the 14th Amendment would have known how abused the notion of birthright citizenship would be, which was not even a notion in the 1860s, they would have been absolutely stunned.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought that we just took the plain text of the Constitution. I didn't think that we could just think about what they would, like if they knew how bad it would get, then we can reinterpret it. You know, so even something as simple as the 14th Amendment, I mean, it just says there, if you're born here, you're a citizen. Oh, but it's really bad. Okay, well, then in that case, we can take other amendments that might be really plainly written. I mean, they think the Second Amendment is super simple. But if they had only known how bad it would get, I mean, if they knew that schools were being shot up in churches and bars and festivals and concerts and all that, well, then obviously they would have changed their mind. And we could just all decide to rewrite the Constitution whenever we want, right? Whoever the hell that guy was, who should probably see a doctor soon. Look, I think that cosplay and costumes are fun. Those guys are dressing up as if they're the founders. They've printed out their stupid little paper. They think it's the Constitution. But of course, they have no more capacity to unilaterally change the Constitution than Donald Trump does. But the reason I want us to talk about this isn't that they can do it. They can't. Amendments are a thing for a reason. A law is not an amendment. It's that this has become so normalized. Like, look, I had my 13th anniversary at TYT yesterday, I think. So I've been around for a while, but I haven't been around nearly as long as you. When like Lou Dobbs was on, that's who I think of as like a rabidly anti-immigrant person on the news or whatever. Was he even advocating for birthright citizenship to be taken away? Like, I think you would have had, 15 years ago, you would have had to go to stormfront.org or something to get somebody advocating for that. And now it's Trump, it's the Congress, it's all of the right-wing media, TV and independent or whatever they call themselves, and a significant portion of his base. Just because they're always looking for something more. Like we shut down the border, barely any people are getting across. Well, we gotta get something. And this is the next big thing for them.
Yeah, so if, it's they say in that proposal, one parent is a citizen or a legal resident, et cetera. And you know which part of the Constitution it says, the part about the legal resident, the one parent? Oh, right, none of it. It doesn't say that at all. The 14th Amendment is crystal clear. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States, period, okay? So in order for you to interpret that into the Constitution, you would have to have the most activist justices you have ever seen in your lifetime. They'd have to just make up words and make up phrases and things that the founding fathers, those guys in that press conference admitted never said. They said they would have said it if they lived today. I know they would have agreed with me and written it differently. But brother, they didn't write it differently and you just admitted it. So you know, and this is not a proposal for an amendment. There's a different one in today's show. That one is also nuts as well, but at least it's a proposal of an amendment and that is the right process. This is an executive order that's blatantly unconstitutional and doesn't give a damn that it's unconstitutional. And then says, oh, but the founding fathers would have and could have, but didn't, but who cares about the Constitution? I thought that the right wing said over and over again that they love the Constitution and they revere the Constitution. They're like, oh, it's a little inconvenient for us because we don't want these immigrants doing this thing. So let's just rewrite it with activist justices.
Insane.
Okay, why don't you just say you never meant a word you said? So you didn't care about activist judges as long as they were on your side. You didn't care about the Constitution or violating it as long as you were the ones violating it. So look, I know not everybody on each side believes these things, and I know sometimes some of the most extreme things are proposed and some are opposed and some are in favor. But Donald Trump proposed this one. That was an executive order, so it comes from the top. So it's not like you can say, oh no, it's just a rando, a commenter, or a rando congressman. No, it was Trump, and he likes doing things like this. I know that partly he's doing it to tell his base, I hate immigrants as much as you do, but nevertheless, this is not how you're supposed to govern a country that has a constitution. And I just keep saying it every time. And at the same time, this is a perfect example of why we shouldn't over panic. Senator Turner's absolutely right. There's plenty of terrible things in there that we've got to organize and find a smart, logical, reasonable way to push back on and win on. But if we spend all of our energy freaking out about the least likely things and then taking counterproductive measures like having these early bursts, don't do that. Let's do it right. If they're doing it wrong, let's be more strategic on our side and fight back effectively. Last word, Nina.
And Cenk, I mean, that's exactly what they want us to do, to use our energy in exacerbation. We only have a finite amount of time, a finite amount of energy, and we should not use it by freaking out. Even as this man just died, he just throws bombs everywhere. He is coming in like the Tasmanian devil because that is how he gets his energy. I'm not saying we shouldn't be concerned. Absolutely, we should be concerned, but you cannot make purposeful decisions when you are feeling desperate. We got to step back and take a breath. And these people are asinine. I mean, I feel as though this has to be the year of awakening, Cenk and John. It has to be. And if this is what it's going to take for the masses of people in this country of good consciousness to wake up and to unite, then so be it. We have got to fight and fight harder. And it's not just because of Donald J. Trump. He is a symptom of a larger problem. But I tell you what, the Democrats failed, and they failed epically. And Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump, understands how to use power. He didn't walk in there saying, let me do it bipartisan. He didn't say, let me reach across the aisle. He said, oh no, hell no, I'm about to sign a whole bunch of executive orders and get people all razzed up. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, you know what, the Democrats, we got to do things bipartisanly. If it's any lesson, you got to use power when you have it and use it to the good. And had they did that, we would not be in this situation right now. So Cenk, I know you said you annoyed. I'm annoyed too, because we would not have been in this situation if the neoliberals had stepped aside and did the right thing. They brought us Trump 2.0, and I'm livid about it.
Yeah, I can't agree any more than that. I mean, if I could go to 101% agreement, I would. Nina speaks for me.
Yeah, thankfully, those neoliberals are no longer in charge of the Democratic Party.
Well, hey,
well, anyway,
cross your fingers. 3 years from now, we all better make sure that they are not in charge of this party. Otherwise, we've seen what they do: wall-to-wall losses.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.